Hi everybody, my name is Caillou McBaldwin, and I'm a senior at Barney's Friends High School. Now today, I'm here to talk to you about one of the best forms of renewable energy that our planet has to offer. That's right, geothermal energy. Now, for those of you who don't know, geothermal energy is basically massive amounts of heat or thermal energy that's stored in our Earth's crust and mantle that resulted from years of formation billions of years ago. Now, instead of hearing me talk about geothermal energy, let's go interview a real geothermal power plant engineer to see what he has to say. I'm here right now with geothermal power plant engineer Jeffrey Thermodoropoulos. Now, Jeffrey, what exactly is a geothermal power plant? That is an amazing question, Caillou. Well, basically, a geothermal power plant is an electricity producing facility that utilizes the extreme thermal energy in geothermal reservoirs in Earth's crust to create hot steam that eventually pushes turbines to create electricity. Wow, Jeffrey, that's really interesting. Now, I know a lot of our audience is really interested into the inner workings and mechanics of different things. So, do you mind telling us how exactly geothermal power plants function? Well, there are three main types of geothermal power plants. The first is dry steam power plants. Basically, we use pipes drilled underground to transfer steam directly to turbines. And as the turbine rotates, it powers an electricity generator that is then transferred to the power grid. Our second type of geothermal power plant is flash steam power plants, and these are the most commonly used today. They pull deep, high pressure hot water from underground into lower pressure tanks above ground. This lower pressure causes the hot water to rapidly boil or flash steam. This steam is then used to turn a turbine and power a generator. And then finally, binary cycle plants are the most recently developed and can use lower fluid temperatures, which makes operations much easier and a lot cheaper. Basically, moderately hot geothermal water is pulled from underground and then passed by a different secondary fluid with a much lower boiling point than water. This causes the secondary fluid to flash vaporize, which then drives our turbines. Now, in all of these power plants, after the steam is used to turn the turbine, they can be transferred to a condenser where it is cooled down into a liquid state. The water can then flow back down a pipe into the geothermal reservoir, where it can be reheated to be used again. This is part of what makes geothermal power plants renewable and really sustainable. I see. That's very fascinating. So, what types of strengths do geothermal power plants hold? What really makes them stand out from other sources of energy? Well, first, it's a lot cleaner than fossil fuels. Greenhouse gas emissions from geothermal power plants are on average less than 5% of that of conventional coal power plants and less than 1/6 of that emissions of natural gas fueled power plants. And geothermal also has minimal freshwater usage. They only use 20 liters of freshwater per megawatt hour versus the over 1,000 liters per megawatt hour for nuclear, coal, and oil. Additionally, we can recycle wastewater from other human activities as reinjection fluid. This ultimately prolongs the life of our geothermal reservoirs and prevents wastewater from contaminating other bodies of freshwater that are used for human consumption. In terms of national security, geothermal power can be domestically produced as is currently being done in the geysers in California. And these geysers have already provided more than 60% of the power along the northern California coast. Does geothermal energy have any weaknesses? Unfortunately, yes, geothermal power plants do have weaknesses. One of the biggest weaknesses is the limited amount of suitable high-efficiency sites in the world. Projects usually must be along tectonic plates or areas of high geothermal activity in the Earth's crust. Currently, the most suitable sites in the US are mostly in the western states. Another weakness would have to do with earthquakes. Because we are digging a few kilometers into the crust and pumping water in and out of deep reservoirs, there's a risk of triggering small local earthquakes and impacting land stability. Finally, fluids drawn from our Earth can sometimes carry a mixture of polluting gases, such as carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, methane, ammonia, and radon. However, most stations are equipped with emission control systems to reduce this exhaust. Additionally, these compounds are usually injected back into the Earth with recycled water to prevent air pollution. What about monetary costs? How much does it really cost to build, run, and maintain a geothermal power plant? Well, most of the cost is weighted toward initial planning, drilling, and construction of these plants. A typical geothermal power plant in Nevada that produces 6.4 megawatts of electricity can cost about $10 million to build initially. However, once in operation, it is extremely cheap at around 3 cents to 5 cents per kilowatt hour because they require no fuel to run. The levelized cost of energy for geothermal is about $44 per megawatt hour, while solar is about $73.7 per megawatt hour, onshore wind at $55.8 megawatts per hour, and hydroelectric at $64 per megawatt hour. So as you can see, geothermal is one of the cheapest in terms of levelized cost. Wow, that's amazing, Jeffrey. Thank you so much for your time. After talking with Jeffrey, I think I've realized geothermal energy could be a part of our path to a green future. Currently, more than 80 countries use geothermal energy, and it's meeting the electricity needs of over 70 million people across the globe. I'm sure we can increase that number easily in the near future. Thank you again for tuning in, and I'm Caillou Baldwin. Peace out.